It is the second round of the playoffs here, Joe. We've been doing picks every single week. And here we have it. Oh, look at this great lead that we've been able to amass here.
Yeah. It's only 9. You said 12 earlier. It's only 9.
Okay, well, you can't catch up. There's nothing you can do. So I'm 114-38. Joe is 105-48. Let's talk about some of these games here. Joe, we will be able to do a reaction video to this on New Year's Day. But Penn State versus Boise State, your thoughts as both of us are taking the Penn State Nittany Lions to win this football game.
I messed up the graphic. You're supposed to be 1-14-39, not 38. So I gave you a little bit of a friendly bit there. My biggest thing with this game, Ashton Jetty's going to have a big performance. He is going to rush for over 150 yards. He has been the biggest reason for their success. That's like not a hot take. That's not a surprising one. He has kept them this far and carried them this far in their season. Where they're not going to be able to live is on third down situations, 3rd and 5 or longer. Abdul Carter and that defensive line for Penn State are going to get home. They're going to. Maddox Madsen is not nearly as elusive as Kevin Jennings. It's not even close. Kevin Jennings was one of the best improvising quarterbacks in the country this year. Maddox Madsen's not the same level of athlete. He's not going to be able to get away in those circumstances. Will he make some plays? Yes, of course he will. But I do not see enough for them through the air. And more importantly, their secondary is very weak. In a controlled environment indoors, there should be an easier time for Drew Aller, unlike the way that he played in the beginning of the game against SMU. They're going to have bigger plays through the air. They're going to be able to move the ball more. There is no reason that Boise State should win this game. Penn State, if they play to their potential, has this thing in the bag.
I look at Penn State and I say to myself, if you come out the way that you did against SMU offensively, you're going to keep Boise State around, and eventually they're going to break a long run on you. Don't play around with them.
No.
Do not. They're going to have to come out better offensively than what they did against SMU. I know that weather's going to be a different factor here, so that may change. But I look at Boise, Joe, outside of Ashton Jeanty, they are bad in a lot of areas. That is just the truth. And I look at Penn State and say, unless they come out here and they play sluggish the way they did against SMU, talent be talent, they should be able to control this game from the opening kickoff to the ending kneel down or whatever it may be. But the bottom line here is you've got two really favorable, I'm going to say it like that, matchups to start it off. You lead them in every statistical category besides rushing offense. Literally, clearly. There's nothing on paper, talent v. talent, and quite honestly, coaching staff, why you should allow them to stay around with you. But I'm going to tell you, I've seen you be sluggish. Can you continue to get over the hump? I will remind people, it's the best James Franklin stat of all. 95% of the time, he's going to beat teams not named Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon. Just going to happen that way. So I do think that they're going to take charge, though. And I do think Drew Aller and Andy Kotelnicki will be able to figure some things out. I do think they're able to control the game, but they better not stay around and let them and play around with them. All right, Joe, Notre Dame and Georgia, the only games that you and I differ here throughout this. You're going with the Fighting Irish. I'm going with the Georgia Bulldogs. Let's go ahead and debate this one.
I'm obviously not going to pick against my team. I've been on both sides of the fence on how I want to handle picking this because I don't know if I want to jinx Notre Dame or not. Yes, I am that superstitious, but there's a path and a way for Notre Dame to win this game. I do not believe that this is a circumstance where we can just sit here and say Notre Dame's effed. There's no shot that they're going to win it. Their defense, their secondary is built for this matchup. Going up against an inexperienced quarterback with corners who play great tight man coverage with receivers that have a lot of issues with hanging on to the football. If they can get the right disruptions at the catch point on third down, if they could get a turnover from Xavier Watts or a Don Schuler. That is what they need to win this game, by getting a short field and converting in a big play from Jeremiah Love or Jadarian Price. They don't need to be perfect. They don't need to play a game where they throw for 300 yards and run for 150 and play against their style. They just have to be, don't shake your head at that. They just have to play and lean on their defense to win a ball game like this. There's a shot that they don't. There's a shot that they don't, but their defense is good enough to go toe-to-toe with a team like Georgia.
Crow's coming home to roost. I completely disagree with you on how this game's going to go.
Oh, come on.
Completely. Because I think Riley Leonard's got to do that. I'm not saying throw for 300 yards, but what I'm saying is, Joe, he's going to have to be in very critical situations and throw the football. The number doesn't matter to me. If you know how a game can feel, and if there's a lot of big situations, stats don't mean shit. If he's throwing the ball and completing passes on third downs, it's going to feel like he takes over the game. That's what Notre Dame's got to do to win this football game in a story. Because I'm going to tell you one thing. I've seen this story before. Everybody has seen this story before with Georgia. Quarterback down. Here comes a backup. Walk on or not. Defense starts stepping up. I'm telling you right now. Kirby said something today that was the most interesting thing that I've heard him say probably ever. He says our team, what we talked about last week, the team has rallied around him, and we've been practicing better than we've ever practiced. What does that mean from a guy like that? That I'm telling you, they are going to load the – I'm not saying Jeremiah Love can't run.
Obviously that they're going to, and I don't disagree with this premise. But
if Notre Dame is going to win this football game, it is going to come off the arm of Riley Leonard. I promise you.
I don't disagree with that.
The times what have we seen about the times that Georgia is either going down this season or they've gone down in seasons before? If you want to talk about the SEC championship game last year or the Alabama game this year, it wasn't Jalen Milroe running the football. It's never them running the football. If you're going to beat Georgia, you have to be surgical on third down throwing the football. That is their weakness.
So, surgical is like an aggressive way of phrasing this.
Okay,
he wasn't surgical, and they almost won that game.
In the game-winning touchdown.
Well, you're making it surgical is an extreme word, and it makes me feel like he's got to hit like some really tight, crazy passing windows and make some crazy big play. He just needs to be good enough.
You go right on ahead and think that he doesn't, because I promise you this: if he doesn't, you're going to get your asses beat.
He needs to do exactly what Haynes King did.
You go right on ahead and think that that's going to happen. You go right on ahead.
He's as good of an athlete as Haynes King is. It's not some insane take to have. It's on film. It's on film.
Brother, you've given this man over a month to game plan against you.
You also put on film a bad game against a Georgia Tech team that's not very good. It is such an easy game plan to steal. They can replicate and do exactly what Georgia Tech did.
Okay. Y'all, listen to me, and listen to me good. I've been listening to y'all say this all year. Do this, and this. You cannot do that against them and win this football game. I promise you.
You can't do what? No, elaborate. You can't do what?
If you're going to play bully ball with Georgia, you're going to get your asses whooped.
I didn't say they're not going to try to play bully ball with them.
Joe, you're saying that you need to line up and run the football and take control. And I promise you this.
It doesn't come out of my mouth. I didn't say that. Joe, Georgia Tech didn't do that.
That's exactly what they did.
Oh, Georgia Tech got the ball to anybody that could do the football.
What do you mean?
No. They were doing everything that they could in order to get the ball to Jamal Haynes, in order to get the ball in the hands of Haynes King as a runner. That's what they need to do.
He ran the ball for over close to 30 times. What are you talking about?
I'm saying that they didn't run the ball right up the middle every single play. And I'm not saying that they're going to do that. They don't need to do that.
What was Haynes King doing? How was he running the football? They were running QB power. There's nothing else you can do on QB power. It's the number one play that you put in your playbook. What are you talking
Power's
about?
running outside. It's not but like an A-gap run. You're making it seem like
an A-gap run.
No, it's not. Power is not just purely no, come on. You're out of your mind. No, stop it. Stop. You're trying to make this argument as if that they need to. I'm implying that they need to just line up two tight ends and just run down the middle. That's not what I'm saying. You're trying
Okay. Then you're gonna have to explain to me then what you mean by playing your style of football, because that's the style.
How did they score the 98-yard touchdown with Jeremiah Love? It was an outside run. It was an outside run. Get the ball to the outside. I'm just trying to be clear here that
you think that y'all got more speed than Georgia.
I think you're underestimating. I'm not saying that we got more speed than Georgia, but I think you're underestimating how fast Jeremiah Love is.
No, I'm not. That kid's special. I'm not talking about him.
I just don't like my whole problem with this play is I don't like this implication that Riley Leonard needs to go out there and play like a perfect football game as a passer. That's not their game.
And they're going to put you in critical third down situations. And if you cannot throw the football on them and convert those critical situations, and you continue to punt the ball away, they will beat your ass. That is Georgia 101.
So Riley Leonard can't scramble? He can't do any of that?
He certainly can. But do you really? Okay.
I can't wait for this game, man. I can't wait for this game.
Hey, I'm going to come in here. Listen, I'm not even going to say a word when it happens. You're going to go in there and play bully ball with Georgia. You're going to get your ass whooped.
I'm not saying bully ball. That's not the implication. It's running the football doesn't just mean bully ball. Running the football is a far broader.
You said, per your statement, still the Georgia Tech game plan. Did you not?
But Georgia Tech didn't just say we're gonna go under. When you say bully ball, it makes me think under center. We're gonna run the ball only between the tackles. They didn't. They were creative in getting the ball in space to guys. That to me is what Georgia Tech did, and they had the athletes, and that's when you run the ball. That's what you need to do. Run a trick play. Run reverses. Run screens. Like that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. In fairness, when you bring it up, I'm looking at a team that ran for 260 yards. When I look at their rushing attempts, Joe, 24 from Haynes King. Jamal Haynes had 13. Alexander had 5. Singleton had 3. The receiver had 3. Joe, they had receivers with rushing yards.
Well, wait. But that's what I'm talking about here. You're nitpicking me using the word bully ball, and I'm not I didn't say bully ball. Getting the ball to your receivers as rushers is what I'm talking about.
But there's something massive about that game that you're leaving out. Haynes King, 26 of 36 for 303 and 2 touchdowns. If Riley Leonard, the reason that game is close is because Haynes King is throwing the ball on critical downs and converting.
If UMass can run on you, I think that Notre Dame will be fine.
You fucking lost to NIU. You might want to calm down.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not. Okay. All right. We got 2 more before we wrap up the show.
Well, this next one, Arizona State and Texas, we're both going with Texas.
Arizona State does not have the pass rush production to get to Quinn Ewers. Plain and simple. Texas's best football games have come when he has been relaxed and the pressure's not on his shoulders. We've even talked about where they have had really good production from their running backs, and he hasn't had to do everything. And he's played not his best ball in a couple of instances, but regardless, when he doesn't have to throw the ball 35 plus times, that's how they win. I think they're going to be fine running the ball. I think that they're going to be fine with him in the pocket, having time to operate. Cam Scatterbo is not going to be enough against that D line. It's just not. Sorry, Arizona State fans, Texas winning the game.
I think Arizona State's going to find a way to cover.
Well, it's a big line. It's 14.
I thought it was 17. Is it 14?
I think it's 12 and a half, maybe.
Okay. Well, I thought it was 17. I'm not going to go that far. Ding, 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 ding. Splattering alert.
It's going to be a blowout. Let's see what this line is. Let me double check. BetOnline has it at 13.
Okay. If it was any more than 14, I'm taking Arizona State to cover. Because Texas will play to a level of their opponent every single week. They completely do that every single week. All right, last one here, Joe. Oregon versus Ohio State. Both of us going with the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I keep coming back to the fact that it feels like the Michigan loss was a rallying point. Ohio State played the most intense football game that I have watched all year long out of any team's film that I've broken down. That level of focus is not something that just goes away. They're not acting and talking like and playing like a team that is just content with the fact that they dominated Tennessee. No, they're on a death. They are on a aggressive downhill roll towards trying to get to a national championship. And I think that Tennessee game was the momentum that they needed after the Michigan loss. Oregon beating them the first time might have gone the opposite direction for them because Ohio State has had time to prepare to figure out how they can get them again.
Can Ohio State translate the intensity that they had through all 4 quarters and translate it into a game with Oregon? Here's the thing that I feel like that I'm seeing. I'm seeing an entire team rally behind a quarterback. Every Ohio State player post that I am seeing is about one person. That person's being Will Howard. I don't care if he's going to ever play it down in the NFL. I don't care. I know what something special happens, what it looks like when a team rallies behind one guy. I'm going to continue to say this. I don't think that they're remotely close to touching their ceiling offensively, even with the injuries. They are special, very special out wide. And if he can make really good throws, they're going to win this football game. Here's the thing that made me ultimately choose Ohio State. Oregon's run defense has been bad. And if you give them any room to run the football with a beat-up O-line, you will be in trouble because they will go play action on your ass and they'll start hitting Jeremiah Smith long. That's the thing for me that changed my opinion. I was leaning Oregon earlier in the week, just could not go ahead and pull that trigger. I'm going to take Ohio State here, Joe.
Yeah. Well, this is the one that has the biggest momentum for whoever wins it to go on and win the national title. Because if you can build the confidence of the victory, if you're Oregon or Ohio State, it is enough to get past Texas, certainly, and it is enough to get past whoever you're meeting in the national championship game.
I fully agree with that. And listen, if they do beat Oregon and they go on a run where they beat Tennessee, Oregon, and hypothetically, let's say Texas, and then you're talking about them winning a national title, let's say it's Notre Dame, Penn State, Georgia, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. The run in the season that they had to finish this stretch will be one of the most impressive runs that we've seen in college football's history.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, you're talking about 4 straight top 10 opponents. 4. Now, nobody's ever done that before. No one has ever beat 4 straight top 10 opponents. That is what's going to be very interesting here, Joe, if we get to that point. All right. That will be nuts. It will be nuts.
Yeah.
It's never happened.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.